My name is Nora Whitaker, and what began as a typical Thursday afternoon turned into a day I'll never forget. I had just placed a basket of groceries on the kitchen counter when the front door swung open and my granddaughter, Mia, stepped inside. She was only 10, yet in that instant she looked years older. Her eyes were red and puffy. Her shoulders slumped as though weighed down by a burden far too heavy for a child. She didn't greet me with her usual cheerful chatter or her bright smile. Instead, she hugged her backpack tightly to her chest like a shield. Her voice trembled as she whispered words that stopped me in my tracks. "Grandma, please get me out of here. I'm scared of my dad." At first, I thought she meant Adam, her biological father. But when I met her quivering gaze, I realized she was speaking about Gavin Pierce, her stepfather. My chest tightened, my breath caught. Before I could respond, Mia reached into her backpack and pulled out a small black voice recorder, the kind you'd find in an office supply store, cheap and easily overlooked. She placed it on the kitchen table with hands that shook uncontrollably. "Listen to this," she whispered so faintly it barely rose above the hum of the refrigerator. I stared at the recorder, my heart hammering, unsure if I was ready for what I might hear. My finger hovered over the play button, knowing that this moment would change everything. Whatever this recording held, it would demand a decision: protect the fragile piece of paper in my hand or stand up for a terrified child. Before that day, I'd always told myself our family was holding together. Life in Cedar Glen moved at its slow, steady pace, with brick sidewalks, neat lawns, and neighbors who waved as you passed. My days were filled with small joys: sewing for friends, tending my garden, and early morning walks to the market. After my husband passed away years ago, I poured my love into my daughter Lauren and my granddaughter Mia. Lauren was ambitious, climbing the ladder at an architecture firm. I admired her drive, but it came at a price. Long nights at the office meant Mia spent more time with me. I never minded. Mia was the light of my life. Her drawings taped to the fridge, her endless questions about the world filling our home with curiosity and laughter. Her father, Adam Brooks, had been a good man who had hit hard times. A failed business left him in debt, and though the divorce was quiet, it left scars. Mia adored him, and even though he saw her less often, there was no question about his love for her. Then came Gavin Pierce, polished, courteous, always smiling. He fixed broken fence posts and brought fruit baskets when he visited. Lauren's eyes sparkled whenever she spoke of him. To her, he was stability, a second chance. To me, he seemed polite, generous even. I wanted to believe he was exactly what my daughter needed. But slowly, Mia's smile began to fade. At first, I convinced myself it was just the adjustment to having a new stepfather. Children need time to adapt. But in the quiet spaces between her words, in the way her laughter became rare, I started sensing something was deeply wrong. There was one afternoon that I can never forget. I had gone to pick Mia up from school, just as I had countless times before. Parents chatted near the gate while children spilled out like waves of color and noise. I scanned the crowd for Mia's cheerful wave. She came out last, her backpack slung crookedly, her steps dragging as if climbing an invisible hill. Her head stayed low, and when she finally looked up, her eyes had lost the sparkle that once lit my world. "Mia," I called softly, raising my hand. She flinched at my voice, then slowly made her way toward me, her face pale, lips pressed tight. The ride home was unbearably quiet. Mia clung to her backpack and pressed close against me on the bus. Every question I asked about her day was met with a shake of her head, or a tiny nod, her gaze fixed on the floor. When we arrived at Lauren's house, I noticed details I had previously overlooked: a kitchen too spotless, a silence that felt forced, and Gavin's black suitcase waiting by the door. He offered a brief smile and announced another business trip, brushing off my questions with impatient glances at his watch. Moments later, he was gone. Inside, Mia sat gripping her backpack straps at the kitchen table. I poured hot cocoa, but she didn't touch it. The ceiling fan hummed above us, indifferent to the tension in the room. For the first time, fear settled in my chest, a fear I couldn't yet name, but could no longer ignore. That evening, wrapped in the quiet of the house, Mia finally let her guard down. She sat on the couch, still clutching her backpack like a lifeline. Her small hands trembled as she unzipped it and brought out the black recorder. She placed it on the coffee table, lips pressed pale. "Grandma, listen," she whispered. I reached for the device, my fingers cold against the plastic. First came a low hum, then the creak of a door. Then Gavin's voice filled the room, low, controlled, each word heavy with a menacing calm. "Mia, this stays between us. You don't want to upset your mom, do you? If you tell her, she will leave you. Be a good girl." My stomach dropped. I wanted to turn it off, but Mia's hand gripped my sleeve. I forced myself to listen. Her soft sobs echoed from the recording, the voice of a child trapped in fear and confusion. Gavin continued with a chilling calmness. "If anyone finds out, people will think you're a bad girl. Everyone will hate you." The words slithered like poison. I heard a muffled protest from Mia. Then silence, the kind that makes your blood run cold. I stopped the tape, unable to bear more. The recorder slipped from my hands and hit the table. My heart raced, tears blurred my vision, and rage surged through me like fire. Mia buried her face in my chest, her voice broken but her truth unmistakable. "Grandma, every time we're alone, he touches me. I told Mom, but she said I was lying." I wrapped her in my arms, holding her as if I could shield her from every hurt she had suffered. In that instant, I knew the fragile piece of our family was already shattered. I placed the recorder in a small tin box my late husband had used for his tools, locking it with a rusty key. "This evidence is safe now, Mia. No one will take it from you," I said, my voice trembling. That night, I made a promise to myself. Whatever storm lay ahead, I would face it. Silence was no longer an option, not when a child's safety was at stake. Later, Lauren came home, shoulders slumped under the weight of another long day at the firm. If you want to follow this story and hear more real-life experiences like mine, make sure to subscribe to my channel. You don't want to miss what comes next. She dropped her purse onto the sofa and kicked off her heels, finally noticing that I was still there, Mia clinging to my side. "Mom, you're still here," she said, her voice weary but edged with sharpness. I gestured to the chair across from me. "Sit down, Lauren. We need to talk." Mia held tightly to my arm, her backpack pressed against her chest. I reached into my tote, pulled out the recorder, and pressed play. The faint hum, the click of a door, and then Gavin's cold, deliberate voice echoed through the kitchen. "Mia, this stays between us. You don't want to upset your mom, do you?" Lauren froze, eyes wide, but not in shock. Denial flashed across her face. She brushed her hair back, shook her head, and scoffed. "This is ridiculous. Adam must have put her up to this. He's been jealous ever since I moved on. Mia is just repeating whatever he told her." Mia's voice cracked, trembling with tears. "Mom, I've told you so many times. You never believed me." A fire of anger burned in my chest, but I kept my voice calm. "Lauren, that's Gavin's voice. Do you really think a 10-year-old could make this up? Do you think your own daughter would beg like this just to please her father?" Lauren rose, face flushed with fury and fear. "You don't understand. Adam's always trying to ruin things for me. He's turning her against Gavin." Mia's small body shuddered, and she collapsed against me, sobbing until her breath grew shallow. I quickly laid her on the sofa, pressing a cool cloth to her forehead and whispering that she was safe. Then I turned to Lauren, my voice quivering but firm. "If you won't protect your child, I will. This ends tonight." My hands shook as I dialed Adam's number. My daughter might be blind, but I was wide awake to the danger. Within an hour, Adam arrived, pale but resolute. Hearing the fear in my voice had made him come without hesitation. The moment he stepped in, Mia reached for him, burying her face in his chest as if she had been holding her breath for years. We didn't waste time. Together, we carried her to Adam's old sedan and drove straight to the nearest hospital. The waiting room smelled of disinfectant and stale coffee, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. Mia clung to me, whispering, "Grandma, don't let go." A young pediatrician greeted us, calm and professional. Kneeling to meet her eyes, he said, "You're safe here. Nothing bad will happen tonight." A small nod was all Mia could manage. They ran careful tests, asking gentle questions. I stayed by her side, holding her hand through every moment. When the doctor returned, his face was serious. She shows signs of both physical and emotional trauma. This will require long-term care. We must report this to the authorities immediately. I handed him the recorder without hesitation. This is what she brought me, I said. He nodded, bagged it as evidence, and assured us it would be handled properly. Lauren sat in the corner, silent tears streaking her face. Her denial was crumbling. She whispered almost to herself, I didn't want to believe it. There's no time for blame, I told myself. What matters is Mia's safety. The doctor looked at us firmly. The next step is notifying the police and ensuring she's protected. You did the right thing bringing her here. For the first time that night, I felt a glimmer of relief. We had stepped out of silence into the light of truth. The hospital called the police while Mia rested under a warm blanket. A social worker stayed nearby, offering crayons and paper so she wouldn't feel trapped by the questions swirling around her. I sat beside her, hand on her shoulder, whispering that she was safe. 2 officers arrived, speaking with Adam and me about the recording. They promised swift action. One said, We'll place a unit outside the house tonight in case Gavin returns. He won't reach her again. That reassurance gave me just enough room to breathe. Later that night, the phone rang. Gavin had been detained at the airport. His supposed late-night business flight turned into handcuffs before boarding. My knees nearly buckled at the news. Relief washed over me, followed instantly by exhaustion. We returned to my small home, carrying Mia between us. I tucked her into the old wooden bed her grandfather had once slept in. She curled against me, breath uneven, but finally she closed her eyes. Adam sat nearby, his face tight with lingering anger, but softened seeing his daughter finally resting. Lauren lingered in the kitchen, silent, gripping a dish towel as if it anchored her. That night, the house was heavy with silence, but without fear. For the first time, we knew Gavin could not reach us. Weeks later, we found ourselves in a courtroom, a place I never imagined for our family. Wooden benches were cold, the air thick with whispers, every sound echoing like a demand for justice. Gavin entered in an orange jumpsuit, hair unkempt, shackled shoes replacing polished ones. The charming facade was gone. He looked small, hollow. I felt no triumph, only the weight of what Mia had endured. The prosecutor presented evidence methodically. The recording played, Gavin's manipulative voice filling the room. This stays between us. You don't want to upset your mom, do you? Gasps ran through the benches. Jurors clenched their jaws. One woman wiped a tear. The doctor described trauma carefully, and the social worker spoke of Mia's fear and bravery. Mia didn't face Gavin directly. Her voice came through the recording. I was grateful for that. Lauren sat beside me, head bowed, hands twisting a tissue until it tore. Adam held Mia's arm from another room, safe from the man who had caused her so much pain. Finally, the judge spoke, guilty on all counts, long and unforgiving. A collective sigh of relief filled the courtroom. Outside, a crowd shouted their anger as deputies led Gavin away. I held Mia's hand as we walked past. She looked up, searching for reassurance. I squeezed her fingers gently. It's over now, I whispered. For the first time, she believed me. Life didn't instantly become easy after the trial. Justice had been served, but healing was slow. Mia moved in with me, filling the quiet house with her footsteps and the scattered crayons on the table. Some nights, she woke from bad dreams, rushing to my room. I held her close until her breathing steadied. Adam visited often, bringing small joys, park trips, tossing a ball, sharing ice cream. Each moment rebuilt a bond bruised, but unbroken. Lauren returned too, more cautious. She didn't demand forgiveness but offered quiet gestures, helping with homework, baking Mia's favorite cookies, sitting nearby as Mia drew. Distance didn't vanish overnight, but slowly, Mia let her mother back into her world. Therapy gave Mia a safe space to speak. Each session strengthened her. Healing wasn't forgetting. It was learning she wasn't alone, and that truth mattered more than anything. Looking back, the hardest part wasn't confronting Gavin. It was confronting silence. A child's words are easy to dismiss, but silence is dangerous, and doubt can hurt as much as cruelty. 3 lessons remain clear. Always believe the child. Their fear is real. Their courage deserves respect. Document and protect. That simple recorder became the key to exposing the truth. Love must be louder than pride. Reputations can be rebuilt, but a child's trust, once broken, may never fully return. To anyone who has felt the same fear as Mia, know this: you are not alone. People will listen and stand beside you. Counselors, teachers, doctors, advocates. Help is out there. Reaching out isn't weakness. It's the bravest step towards safety. If Nora's story touched you, let it remind us to keep hearts open and ears attentive. Share this video to help others find the courage to act. Leave a comment, even one word, to show that no child's voice goes unheard. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more true stories where love and courage shine brighter than fear. Because in the end, it's not silence that protects, it's truth.